Hello and welcome to Subs Bench on Screen, episode 5, Like Father, Like Son. Today we've got Scott MacNicol and Quinn MacNicol to talk about their careers to date, what the future may hold, and a few stories from back in the day. Enjoy. All right, lads, so growing up, playing football, we'll start with you, Scott. Early influences, who was, the people you looked up to, was the one person in particular that really kind of got your love of football?
Yeah, I was lucky. I had my brother, played National League, so I had him to always follow when I was growing up. And my dad was a state coach and was involved and was the junior director of coaching at Rochdale. So I was lucky. I had both of them, two good people to look up to in football. My brother was in Melbourne for most of the time, but always coming up and playing against the strikers, so it was good to go and watch those games. And then, he was always talking, and we'd try and watch SBS on a Sunday afternoon, try and just flick on for the hour that we'd get. But he was probably the big one for me. And then obviously just watching the football as much as I could. Now I think I was talking to someone about it yesterday, like the coverage when I was young, you had nothing. You got your 1 hour or 2 hours a week of football, and even the English Premier League, you got your Monday highlight show, that was it, when now you're getting so much. So I think the kids these days are lucky.
Yeah, and I suppose mirrors exactly what, your dad's situation was, that him being a coach, going to games, I'd imagine you were just dragged along, and that's probably where it starts for you.
Yeah, for me it was obviously my dad, and being a coach, it was always good going out on the weekends and watching him play, and I really got involved. So yeah, from early on it was definitely my dad who got me into it, and just loved it since.
Yeah, and your junior club was Rochdale?
Yeah, Rochdale as well, yeah.
Yeah.
So he was kicking around when TC was playing for us.
I
was were kicking him off the field and training nights.
I thought you were going to mention Soccer Joes and me maybe being a pivotal role in that, but that's okay. I'll let that one go. But yeah, obviously Rochdale, Scotty's still involved there. Quinn, how much was Rochdale like a massive part of your footballing journey?
Yeah, obviously growing up I was there a lot with Dad being the coach, and then obviously playing on the weekends and training a lot there. But yeah, it was massive for me. The people around the club were always good with me, and I was there most of my weekdays and weekends. So yeah, it was massive, and being there for 6 years was just amazing. I loved it there. So, yeah, it's awesome.
Was that your first junior club would have been Rochdale? Or?
Yeah.
And we'll touch upon it a bit later, because obviously you were at Power for a short spell. He must have been really young then.
Yeah, he was really little then. I think he would have only been a couple of years old, and then Mooney and I were both there. So I think we got a couple of photos of him when we were in the cup final. It was actually at Rochdale, and the kids were all in their Power uniforms. That was I think it might have been our last year there. After that, but the kids had their Power gear on. But
Power supporter then, right?
Power supporter.
Power supporter. Getting into senior football, did you break in at Rochdale in the first team?
Yeah, I broke in, I think I was about 16 when I started playing the Forex League back then. So it was good. Kieran Cooper was the coach.
Oh, yeah.
So Peter Banham was the coach at the time, and then he left a couple of games into the season, and Coops took over as the coach, and Brownie was there, and Rado Vidicic was there as well. So it was a really good coaching lineup. And I broke in about 16 into when I started getting on the bench, and I think my first game might have been up in Toowoomba.
Oh yeah,
versus Chris McLeod, Sheriff. Back, and then it was freezing, but that was my first game. And then by the time I was 17, 18, I was playing quite regularly. So it was an awesome club to be involved in. Yeah.
And did you go from Rochdale down to Victoria?
No, I went from Rochdale to Scotland.
Right.
So that was when I went. So I was 18 when I decided to take the punt and try and go over Scotland, and just kicked off from there. And I was lucky. I had Roddy McKenzie was an old goalkeeper. He used to play at Hibs, and he came out and played here and retired playing for Lions, actually, in goals. And had the Scottish connection, and my family is Scottish. So that's how sort of the Scotland thing came up. And I went and trialled at Hibs. Alex McLeish was a Gaffa there, and their youth team was stacked though. It was Scott Brown, Derek Reardon, Kevin Thompson, Stephen Whitaker. It was like just this good team. I just wasn't good enough to get in it, actually. And then Donald Park was the head of youth there, and he knew the head of youth at Dunfermline, John Ritchie, and put a good word in for me. And that was it. Went to Dunfermline the next week and did well, and was lucky enough to get a deal after that.
Yeah. We'll We knew we were going to come onto this.
Anything of note happen when you played?
Anything of note happened when you were at
scoring any
Dunfermline?
decent sides?
I scored a few.
I think you scored just the one goal. Or?
There's only the one on camera, I think. But obviously, I think I get taken the rip out of it a little bit. Scored that one goal against Celtic. So
Talk us through it, please, because I'm not sure if you even know about this, but he scored against Celtic.
No, it brings up all the time.
Talk us through it.
Continuously. I've done a bit of work in the house. It's just a screensaver on the TV, isn't it?
Yeah. You need to get a bigger TV put up for us. So.
It was a good goal. So talk us through it.
No, it was more a bit of luck as well happened along the way. So I think it was like the Thursday I found out I was going to be in the squad, and then the Friday, match day -1, 2 of the older boys got injured. So I was looking at the bench, and back in, I don't know what it's like in Scotland now, but you had to have 2 under-21s in your match day squad. So I was only 19, I think, at the time, and then I had a look, and then another boy got injured. So I was thinking, well, right, I'm getting closer, and I ended up being like the 3rd sub. You know what I mean? Like out of the 5, because then they brought another young boy on, and I'm thinking, well, I'm going to come on before him. And then we were losing 4-0, and Celtic were just getting ready to go and play in the UEFA Cup final. They were playing against Porto that next weekend, and it was getting really tight in the season. And actually, they were pumping us. Petrov scored 2, and Henrik Larsson scored 2. And Martin O'Neill was trying to get their supporters, because they brought the beach balloons.
Yeah.
And they were throwing them onto the field, and that was slowing the game down, which they didn't want because they wanted goals. And then all of a sudden, the gaffer goes to me, go warm up, you're going on. And then I went on, and, a little bit shy at the start, and boys were getting into me a bit to get into the game. And then, just a bit of luck. I just made a good run into the box, and great first touch, and left foot banger, off the crossbar and in. And, and then that was it. And then that was the last goal they conceded that year. And they lost the league by 1 goal. So everyone's saying that was the goal lost it for them. So,
was it a 3rd man run?
No, I think I was just lucky to get there. They probably went forward. I couldn't get back.
Just banking on it.
Yeah, and I was just hanging out the back there.
Yeah.
So, but just lucky. And, I always say that to Quinn, sometimes you need a bit of luck. And if those 2 players didn't get injured, who knows? I probably wouldn't have played. Yeah. So, but then the next week I came on and set the equaliser against Dundee as well. So I had a good 2 weeks.
That's not a film.
I know, I can find it.
Did provide assists also.
Yeah, I'll find that.
How was being in Scotland? Obviously, how was that journey? And then obviously led you back to South Melbourne. How did that all come about?
Yeah, so like everyone talks about football, like it's probably some of the best days of my life, but also some of the worst days of my life. Like I remember the day at Dunfermline, we were doing really well. Like we made the UEFA Cup, and I think come 4th in the league, and the highest they've ever come. And then the next year, out of the blue, we just get this. We started seeing things in the papers, and they were talking about clubs going into administration. And then everyone was saying, "Nah, we're fine." And we just paid players too much money, and the club were only getting 7,000-8,000 to games. And then the chairman was there one morning, and they took us in, and club went into administration. And my contract was off that year, but I'd had a new contract offered to me at Christmas time, and it was about February or something. And then the gaffer, I hadn't signed anything, so I actually went to my agent and I said, "What's going on?" And he goes, "You need to talk to the manager." So I went in and spoke to the manager, and he goes, "I heard you want to talk." And I said, "Yeah." I said, "Just want to know what's going on with my deal." And he goes, "Son, I hate to say this to you." He goes, "But we're going to let you go." And I was 22, I think, at the time.
And you've been doing quite well.
And I've been doing well, I was in the squad a lot, and I was just blown away. And he goes, "Everyone that's off contract's gone. We can't bring new players in." And I was just like, wow. So then I went and I signed for Brecon. In 5 of us from Dunfermline went there, and I signed for Brecon. But it went from full-time to part-time, even though they were a good club. And I was just like, I'm not really here for this, And then Stuart Munro, used to be at Rangers. He was the old South Melbourne coach in the National League. He was friends with the agent that was looking after me, Dave McPherson, and they just said, "Look, South Melbourne, Paul Trimboli's going to retire." He tried to play, and then they said they want to bring someone in, and then that was it. And then I think the deal was done in 3 days. Yeah. So I flew out, back on the plane and back home, and that was it. And then maybe should have gone back, but didn't. And again, different times. If I went back, we probably wouldn't have had kids so young. As well, so I don't regret it, but just those moments in football. And then South Melbourne was awesome.
I was going to say South Melbourne. I mean, I've been here 15 years, but I know that South Melbourne is the biggest club in Australia. Like, even A-League clubs, I still look at South Melbourne and go, that is a massive club. I've been to a couple of games down there, cup games where I've been down for work, and I've gone along, and there's nothing like that here in Queensland. There's the atmosphere they generate when they play in like a Melbourne Knights or a Heidelberg or something like that. It's like what I'd consider proper football. You know, like,
well, that first year I come back, there was no National League. National League just finished, and there was no A-League. So that was like the top league.
Yeah.
And I think we played Heidelberg and we had 12 or 13,000 at the game. And it was like unbelievable, you know. And then we played Melbourne Knights and you had 7,000.
Yeah.
Preston were in the league at the time. We had 10,000 at that game. So like it was really good. And then obviously the A-League started, which has been awesome, you know, and those crowds sort of dwindled down, you know. So they all went to Sport of Victory and, you know, which is good. But the ethnic backing was, I loved it there.
Yeah, and look, we'll kind of deviate slightly here. Two things to come out of that. So the ethnic, I know that they try to move away from that because of maybe trouble that was kind of happening around the time. But the fact that you touched upon this earlier, you know, how there's a lot of, you can just find footage on pretty much every game, certainly in Queensland, the top three divisions in the men's and the top in the women's. Do you think it stunts attendances at games now? Because people can stop now and watch it.
I think it would have to, wouldn't it? Like,
it'd be the same in Victoria.
So. Yeah, Victoria, especially in Victoria when it's cold and rainy and like, you know, some of these places are hard to travel to. Like, I dare say it would. I think it probably stunts. I think footage of the A-League probably, like, your viewer experience.
Well, every game's live, isn't it?
Yeah,
every game's live.
Every game's live. I think, like, I mean, for me, like, I'd rather watch it at home in the comfort of my own house.
A couple of drinks.
Drink my own beers
Bit of food,
instead of spending like heaps of money to go watch. At the moment, it's probably the products are probably dwindling a little bit. So yeah, I think it would definitely, like, I mean, it's great for young players to get film and send that overseas and get opportunities, but I'd say it would be having an effect on the
Well, I think in the UK they only played one game on TV in 3 o'clock in that time, you know, so people go to the game. So your lower league teams, they're getting the support because the other games aren't on TV. You know, so people are going to them. So
some, like, even like if you look at other codes, even other sports, and I think like the NFL only do that as well. Like, not every game is live or televised in that home city. So it'd probably be something to look at definitely.
I remember going back 15, 20 years now when Sunderland were going well, but crowds were dropping. It's because all the pubs putting all the games like on the dodgy channels on the big screen. And Niall Quinn, who's a legend at the club, he went round and did like a bit of a road show, going around to all the local pubs and the landlords and that, and saying, look, you're killing us. And even a legend like Niall Quinn, like, the landlords were like saying, do one. This is our business. We're making a fortune off this. Who are you to come in and tell us so? It's difficult because ultimately people have got businesses to run and, you know, they've got mortgages to pay for. They're going to do whatever they can. So if they can stay in and watch it on TV, it's going to bring crowds down. So, yeah.
Something to look for, eh? You should lobby for it. Maybe not to Football Queensland.
No, but just in general. I think in general, it has an effect.
Oh, it'd have to, definitely. But anyway, we'll get back to while we're here.
The nitty gritty. So down in South Melbourne, how many years down there?
4 years.
4 years.
Yeah, I was at South Melbourne for 2, which was awesome. And we won the championship, grand final, so it was really good. And then the same guy, Stuart Munro, he was coaching Oakley, and I had a good season. I was in the Victorian team, and he said, do you want to come over? And I hadn't lost my drive for football then, but they trained 2 nights a week.
Instead of
played on a Friday. South Melbourne was 4 days a week. And a game. So we trained Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday morning, played Sunday. We got paid quite well, so it was more of a job, you know, where Oakley said 2 days a week and a Friday night game. And I was like, I don't mind that, you know, like I was giving up a lot at South Melbourne, and then, you know, not saying getting nothing for it, but it was part-time football again, you know. So I went there and, you know, I'm sure we've all been there, but, you know, when you go to someone who just doesn't work for you, I just had a bad time there too. And I remember one game, and different grounds too, like it was a suburban ground, where South Melbourne, you got the stadium. So this was a tight ground and the supporters are there. And I remember I went to have a touch and the ball rolled under my foot. And like, I put my head down, but the supporters down there ruthless, eh? And the guy's like, MacNicol. And I put my head up and I thought he was going to say, like, come on, back to South Melbourne. You know, and I'm just like, oh my God. And then, like, so it just didn't work. And then South ended up buying me back the next year.
Yeah.
So I signed a 2-year deal. And then South bought me back. So I finished my last year at South, which was really good.
Yeah. Itching to get back after the 4th year
To
Queensland?
yes and no. Like, we'd had both the kids there
Yeah.
as well. So they were little, and we sort of thought about it like, I probably, as I said, I hadn't had the drive for full-time football
Yeah.
anymore, so I wasn't going to try and go on trial anywhere. Family was up here, so we just decided we'd give it a crack and move back up here and see what it was like. Obviously,
Yeah.
Jill's from Scotland, so it was different. She actually really liked Melbourne.
Yeah.
With the fashion and shopping and everything down there, which
It is a good city.
warm up
It's a good
there.
city, to be fair.
So, but and then, but look, coming back up here's been great.
So you're Victorian then?
Yeah, I was
You're
born
not a Queenslander?
Nah.
Interesting.
Heidelberg Hospital, eh?
Yeah. So you come back up here, Brisbane Strikers.
Yeah.
Was that the only club you were going to go to? Like, because they were the at the time, was it State League?
Yeah, so they were in that QSL,
Yeah.
and it looked good
Yeah.
from afar.
Was that
you know.
just before, like, did they start the QSL just before the A-League
Yeah.
or just after the A-League?
It must have
kicked back
been
in?
after.
I think it was
It was
after.
pretty close to it there, hey?
but I looked at it and there was like 5 away trips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so I was thinking, oh,
Bit of
this
time
could
away
be
from the
very,
kids.
very much a Queensland league, yeah.
Bit Mad Cow and
Yeah, and I was
places
thinking,
like
you know,
Gilligan's.
like, this could be all right. Like, you know, it's something different.
Yeah.
You know, so I was like, looked at it, and then Stuart McLaren was coach.
Yeah.
And I knew Stewie my old man used to coach him, but he also came and trialled in Scotland.
Mm.
So I just rang him. Peter Bannon was at Redland, so he'd rang me and spoke to him about going there. And I spoke to Stewie, and she was like, no, come in. So I went in, and it was actually really good.
Yeah.
Like the year was good, but again, as it was those 5 or 6 away trips,
Yeah.
and again, it was just getting that little bit too much
Yeah.
for what it was. But it was a great year. Like, we won the league, lost the grand final actually to Redlands, but had a really good season with a good group of boys.
Team was pretty stacked, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it was really
So
stacked. Yeah.
Oh, and all your mates, like, you're close with now,
Yeah.
like Shea Hughes, Mooney, Jonty,
Yeah.
Matt Smith, all babysat him, apparently.
Yeah. Looked after him, not very well, but looked after him. I think one day I came back from Mooney, he hadn't had kids then, and he had a black eye.
Mooney, you step out line, man.
Stepped out
my daughter pushed him off like the couch or something,
Yeah.
and he hit something, and I remember I come back and Mooney was sweating. Honestly, I was away for like half an hour or something, and I was like, "What's going on?" And Mooney was like, "Who's Bullseye? Who's Bullseye?" And I'm like, "Bullseye." I'm like, "Oh, Bullseye." And he was like, "Yeah." He goes, "The kids were making me be Bullseye."
Toy Story.
Yeah, Toy Story. He's like, he's got a black eye. Mooney's sweating. I'm like, never again, mate.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
But yeah, but it was a good group of boys that, you know, I've stayed really close with, and they're my best mates, and they've been a big factor with him too. You know, and like we talk, and you know, they give him some good advice and probably some bad advice as well. But you know, it's always good to have those guys around as well.
Yeah. And from Strikers, you went to Power with Mooney.
Yes,
TK in charge.
TK was there. So TK and my brother had a good relationship from Melbourne.
Yeah.
So they're good friends still today. And TK was in charge up there. I think I went and watched them play a game against Roar. And he said, "Come up." He was so smart as well. He was like, "Come up." So a massive
big crowd
there.
Yeah.
And then as well, when he spoke to me about signing the contract, he goes, "Come up on a Saturday.
No traffic.
No traffic." So I'm thinking, the more I think about it after,
We
I'm
do
like,
that.
he was so smart, and went up there and loved it up there.
Yeah.
5 great years. It wasn't that far. You know what it's like.
Yeah.
A great club, but just the distance. And but every year they were telling us, "Oh, the roadwork's going to be finished next year."
Yeah.
Are
So
they
every
finished
time,
yet?
no, probably still going. So every time we were talking to a player, we would do the same.
Yeah.
Come up on a Saturday, no roadworks, but it was taking us over an hour to get there. But we signed some good players. You know, it's a good club to attract people to as well. And 5 great years there.
Because obviously after the first year, you and Mooney went into management.
Yeah.
Is that something as a player? Because I don't know if I'll ask you the same question here. You know, sometimes I look at players that I'm coaching and I just think they're probably going to move into coaching. They've just got that mind for it. They talk well. But then you look at other players and you think, not a chance. as soon as he hangs the boots up, he's done with the game. Were you always, because of your background, I suppose, of that?
Yeah, I was already coaching. I was already in the schools program and already coaching and doing a bit. So I really enjoyed it. We actually had the big man up. We tried to sign him. I think he came up for a couple of sessions.
Mustn't have been a Saturday, was it?
Yeah,
I was jammed in between Ryder in the car seat, I think.
Yeah, we got him up there for a couple, and then, but we couldn't get him over the line. But I just enjoyed coaching. I love football, and it was that sort of progression. Probably happened a little bit younger, but than I thought it would. But it was John Old, who rang me up and just said, "We want you to do it, and we think the players will stay if you're coaching." And then Mooney didn't want to do it at the start, and then I said, "Come on, we'll do it together." And it worked out well. A couple of grand finals, cup final as well. Yeah, so had some good success.
Yeah, successful
period up there, as you said too. Some of those Scottish boys you had were outstanding players.
They were excellent, and in those days, like you could get them on cheap. Like they were cheap, because they were coming from overseas.
Yeah,
so they just wanted to, the lifestyle holiday change. Yeah.
I always try and sell that to lads who come to quit, like from especially the northeast of England. I was always saying, honestly, like you're an hour from the Gold Coast, an hour from the Sunshine Coast.
Yeah.
It's warm 11 months of the year.
It's changing too. Like, I was up there for work not long ago. It's quite not, like, it's not a bad area.
You know what? When I first came to Australia, people would talk about Redcliffe such a disparaging way.
Yeah.
And then
we still do,
up there. Still do, just not to me. But it's like a lot of young families now. It's actually, 10, 15 years. Yeah. It's going to be completely different. So, I love it, mate.
You've moved up there now, haven't you?
Yeah.
You love it.
2 minutes round the corner from the
ground. You're going to get a statue soon.
Not yet. A few years yet, Scott.
Statue up there at AJ.
Did you go to many games at Power? Because that is one club that does it right from like the outside looking in, with the just bringing the whole community together. Like, were you early memories of going to watch your dad at Power, or?
Yeah, a fair few. Like me, Mum, and Taylor would always travel up and watch Dad coach and play. And I remember we'd go up most weekends and watch him play. But the travel there's a long way, so sometimes we'd stay at home. But it was really good going up there. Loved it.
Yeah, didn't think of doing. Did you do any juniors at Power? Or?
Nah, just at Rochedale. Yeah.
I see you didn't love it that much then, eh?
Nah, not that much. Not as much as Rochedale.
I guess. Let's talk us through, going back to Power, the grand final wins, Canale Cup. Any stick out? I think, was there the one year that you beat Lions in a GF?
We won them both. Like
you were
didn't you
fancy
both 5-0 and 5-1, I think it was, and we scored the own goal for Lions.
Who?
Was that the first year?
Gorsey played, I think, back to it was at East.
Yeah, I remember watching.
I think Gorsey played it back to Revesby, and I think they might have relayed the turf, and Revesby slipped and it went in. But we beat Lions 5-1, and then the next year, the last year actually when we were leaving, we beat Wynnum 5-0
at Lions
in the grand final.
Didn't they pump you in the semi?
And they pumped us in the semi, and
Is that when Gorsey nearly took Cato's head off?
I think that was during the season.
During the season.
I do remember that.
I've seen the footage of that. Yeah. There's some challenge that.
A couple of big bustling centre-backs you had then as well.
But so that Power team, I mean, I get reminded of it all the time when we'll sit round and talk about the best team that Power's ever had and different players and that, and a lot of those players get brought up all the time. To have not won a league with that group because you were so strong, and I think I'm right in saying every year you just got off to a slow start and came home with a wet sail.
Yeah, we did. It was like we always came second or third, and then I think it was even the first year we took over, we were beating Redlands 3-1 away at Redlands. That was the year they actually won the league.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, how easy is coaching? Like, and we lost 4-3.
Yeah.
We conceded 3 in the last 20 minutes, and then I was like, oh. And then, but it was something we always spoke about. But and John and Craig and that. But one thing they always said to us was, we want a trophy.
Yeah.
That was every year. They said, you have to. That's success if you give us a trophy. So that was a big thing. We always tried to make sure we were always competitive. But I think the BPL was so strong back then.
I was going to say, there's you mentioned Redlands. When Redlands won that league, they had Fifey in his prime, Danny Byrne. There was some.
Well, who was the foreigner, the French boy they had?
Nico Bescher.
Oh, he was.
We got players that are still dizzy from playing against him, and obviously that Wynnum team. With Sam Say. So
and
Rochdale. Rochdale was strong.
East.
Yeah,
we were
even teams like City were competitive, though, weren't they?
But like Rochdale, like your Terry Hughes and that, they were all there, and so to win a league was so hard. And then, like I said, winning the the back-to-back grand finals. It was a great way to go out as
Yeah.
well. But yeah, no, I think like a player like a Richie Herlin.
Yeah.
Like I think if like that first year he came, he was untouchable.
I remember watching him. I was living in maybe Boondall around that time, and you must have played North Star away on a midweek. It was Tuesday or Wednesday, it would have been a Wednesday because we wouldn't have been training. Because I remember the next night, I think you won 6-0, and what I was watching, I'd seen nothing like it at this level. And I went to training the next night at Bayside where I was coaching, and I just pulled them all in. I went, if you get the chance to go and watch Peninsula Power, you got to go and watch this left back. Can you remember when Gareth Bale was like peak Bale at Tottenham and he was just gliding all the way through? Richie Herlin was doing this. He did it like 12 times in the same game, and then just whipping balls in, and they had like Hornby and someone else like Sean just putting balls in. I was like, this is cheat mode.
Yeah.
And then don't even start on getting them free kicks 30 yards out.
Yeah.
You know?
I think we were playing East one day, and I think Alan Hunter was coaching us. I don't know if you were there. I think you might have been. But it was like 35 yards out, and I was saying to Richie, what are you going to do? And he was like, just get away. I was like, what are you going to do? He's like, I'm going to hit it. And I was like, oh, all right. And then Alan Hunter's like, let him hit it. And he's put it in the pigeon, and everyone was just like, whoa, like. But he did it against Olympic. Like, he scored those so many last-minute goals. But again, he was another one that was just great for the group.
Yeah.
You know, he's like always funny and always like having a joke, and then, you know, just good around the change room as well.
So what made you decide to leave? Was it, had you outgrown the partnership? Did you want to go your own way? Was it the travel?
I think it was a bit of like, I said to Mooney he should have stayed, but then he obviously got the good gig at Lions. Yeah. And I think with Rochdale, they came like 10th or that year, and they were quite struggling. Cruiser was there, and obviously I've known Cruz for a long time. We're good mates, and he was saying about, you know, you're going to come back, and then I spoke to the guys that were in charge of the club, and I just thought the club needed a bit of help as well. Yeah. And he was there, so he was playing at that time. He was there, you know. So
Pee-wees or whatever they call it.
Yes.
What do they call it?
I don't know.
Power call it Pee-wees.
I don't think anyone calls it Pee-wees.
Power call it Pee-wees. That's why I said
That's why I didn't
Pee-wees.
play there.
Yeah, so he was there. He was doing squirts, or under sixes maybe at that time, and I was just like, had enough of the travel, and then they came to me and they said, we want to offer you a full-time role in the club, and I was like, I'll take it, and that was it. But
I do remember, like, when I came down there, it was just like Quinn, like every Tuesday, Thursday night, mustn't have had daycare or something. No one look after this kid, but he's just like on the pitch constantly, like left foot, right foot, just like hassling the boys to shoot, hassling me to put goal. I'm like, come on, man, I'm confident enough. Don't put more past me. But yeah, no, it's a great club, Rochdale, and obviously the junior base, and it's a really family orientated club. So I can definitely see the draw there. But at what age did you think to yourself, I've got a chance, or I want to make this like a full-time career?
I've never really had that like thought of an age where I was like, I feel like I can do this. I've just loved playing and I've always enjoyed it. And like from a young age, I've had the goal of going overseas and trying to play pro, and to have achieved that now is like surreal. It's a surreal moment for me. But there hasn't really been an age where I was like, I can kick on now. It's
just always been in the blood.
Is there an age where you're just playing with, you know, the kids in your team or who you're playing against, where you've thought, I'm a cut above, and you don't have to be humble here. Like there's got to be a point, you know, when you're young, you just think this comes a little bit easy for me. Do you know what I mean? Like, was there a point where 9s, 10s where you just thought, I could probably play a level above this? Yeah,
it's probably around like under 13s and 14s where I took a big step up there, and then obviously going into the 15s, I felt like I was getting a lot better, and then getting kept on with the 23s, that obviously helped me a lot. So I'd say probably around 13 and 14 was when I started realising,
Is it around about that age where, I know they don't have them now, but Roar had like their 13, 14, 15, 16?
Yeah.
So you go there at around 13?
Yeah, I went there at 12 actually, so I played a year up, my first year there. So obviously that was really good, exciting, and just started there and it was really good.
Who was coaching at Roar at that point?
So under 13s, I had John Ogden, who was a really good coach, and then obviously under 14s, Paul Winton, under 15s, Geordie Manning, and halfway through Danny Byrne came in, which was pretty good. And then obviously keep on going up, I had OB in 23s and then Grossi in NPL. So I was really lucky to have such good coaches surrounded around me.
Good junior youth coaches to bring you through.
I think Oggy was really good for him that first year, because like John's so enthusiastic and he was just like, play. And I think like for him, like it was just something that he needed too. So, but yeah, lucky all the coaches he's had have sort of backed him as well. So
yeah, and I'll throw this to you as a coach and a successful coach, Scott, where fortunately he's had good coaches, and I've got a young son who plays as well, and so is he. So sometimes you look and is there ever a point where you watch and thinking, I'd be probably starting to do something different there? It's a difficult conversation to have, because you know that they've got kids' best interests at heart, but you're looking and you've got more than a vested interest in how he does. Yeah,
to be fair, I think he's been lucky. Like he's always had those coaches that have helped him with different things. Like I said, like John was really encouraging him to get on the ball. Paul Wilton probably gave him a little bit more structure and a bit of, you got to do this better, and then Geordie, Geordie he was such a good guy with him, and Burnsy just go and play, and then Owen and Grossi just gave him, I think, that sort of lift.
Yeah.
So I think he's been really lucky. I think again this year, like he's got Mitchy Nichols helping out with Andre there, and I just said to him, be a sponge off Mitch.
Yeah.
Like, Mitch has been great. Mitch is like always yelling out to him, always talking to him, like get in the pockets, get here and there. And I'm like, mate, he was one of the best 10s that you get. So like, I just say to him all the time, take something off everyone.
Yeah. I think key thing is as well, good coaches are hard to find, but ex-pros, they just have that little bit of nous that can just give you just little pockets of advice that not everyone can give.
No. I think
so Mitch
especially
Nichols,
too, like
especially the position you play
with Mitch too, because he's probably not the head coach. You can sort of have that little bit more one-on-one personability with the players. But yeah, as we said, he's one of the best to do it. We spoke about it on previous episodes. I don't think he gets enough
he doesn't.
credit to how good
Try
he
setting the
actually
team
was.
up against his team, which you would have done, and honestly, there'd be times in games where Mitch Nichols would be like, come across, and he'd just get a bottle, and he'd be having a drink, and he'd be talking to our sideline, our bench, and he'd be like, oh, Sammy Cronin's such a good player, and then he'd drop the bottle and he'd go, and about 10, 15 seconds later he scored his 1-0, and you're like, who's marking him? But people they didn't pick him up because he drifted, and they just let him go. He's not a worry. He'd make great runs. So yeah, pick up all you can off people like that. 100%.
I suppose for you, like obviously being heavily involved coaching wise and with Rochdale, do you find it hard to juggle being a parent and getting out to see his games? And
I do. Like I hate when I miss his football.
Yeah.
Like it's my highlight now, watching the football that he's involved in, and I love it. But like also when it's your job, I say to him, I can't come to a game today, big guy. And probably there's the benefit of the filming, because I can watch it a bit later with him, but again, we don't sit down and really watch things together.
Analyse the game,
It's unbelievable. He played Inter Milan, a month ago?
Yeah.
He only told us he had the video of the game a week ago.
Kids, huh? So like, he's probably too busy playing Xbox and stuff.
So he watched the game, and I'm like, mate, we want to watch this. And he's like, oh, sorry, I forgot I had it. So
was that with the Joeys? Or?
Yeah, that was with the Joeys.
How was that experience?
Yeah, it was unbelievable. That 2 weeks was so good, and obviously meeting new boys over there was really good, and then testing myself out against those boys in Europe was unreal. So yeah, it was great.
Was it sort of like, how did it work with you? Like, was it something that you go, you see the level and you're like, I've got to get to this, or do you see it and be like, oh, I'm not far off these guys? Like, was it a positive or a daunting sort of experience?
I feel like I was kind of lucky to be obviously being with the A-League and be with all the older boys and train with them, and that helped me a lot when I went over there, like physicality wise, and then like technically I feel like I matched them well, but yeah, there's a certain level over there you kind of got to get to, and
sort of like a reset to say, I'm on my way, but there's still more to work on, sort of thing.
Yeah, I'll say it's more of like a reality check in a way, and like you can see like a lot of those boys are like physical, bigger and stronger than like a lot of the boys here. So yeah, it was a really good reality check over there to see what they're all about.
Yeah, nice.
Did it come as a surprise? Because I know that when we spoke to Isaac Powell, he'd obviously had that first team involvement beforehand, so we saw were you surprised when you got the call up? And he was like, I kind of expected it really, like, because you'd already been in the first team and not many players your age have been playing with A-League regular, which you had been at that point. Did you kind of expect, well, I'm definitely more than half a chance at getting in this?
Yeah, I was looking forward to it, obviously, and then as soon as I heard it come up, I was really keen to snatch at the opportunity, and then as soon as I heard us in the team, I was buzzing. So yeah, it was awesome. But yeah, there was certainly a time where I was like, I really want to do this. So
I think it's brilliant. It's that, like when you get selected, maybe it's from districts to regional, you go up that next level. That's actually the last level you can get to at your age. And it's like you get to that group of 16 to 18 players. It's like we're the best in this country, this age group. And if you can just get there, and it just keeps you going, because you just think a little bit push here, and then there's another level to go on top of that. Because Roy Keane once said, if you stop moving forwards in football, you go backwards, and it just keeps you hungry for more. So the more experiences you get like that, the better, I think.
It was actually good. It was good to see like him being with players his own age as well.
Yeah.
Like in with the A-League boys is brilliant for him, but it was also good to see him drop back and be a bit of a leader as well.
Yeah.
I think was really good. But also the lead up to it, he was like a little kid.
Yeah.
Like every day, there's an email comes through. There's an email comes through.
Cool.
And then like we didn't want to tell him the day the email came through. We didn't know how to tell him. Because we wanted him to read it as well, because we wanted him to have that thing. And I remember he was at training here, and he was like messaging me, has an email come through? Has an email come through? And I said no. He was like, oh, other boys have. So I was like, I felt bad. I'm like, oh. So I actually when I picked him up, I'll let it, again, he was like, I said, have you finished? He goes, yeah, I've just checked my phone. But then like he got his email, and like he was buzzing. So it was good to see, like with, like that sort of side of still being a kid. And as you said, like maybe you do sometimes expect things, but still you're waiting for
the validation that it's
so
there.
It was just so good to see.
But look, what I will say, you'd earned it, because that last year, it was around about the time that Raw Youth were playing at Power, so I was getting to watch. Normally I go down, if we're meeting at an hour and a quarter before the game, I'd normally get there an hour and a half before. But when he was playing and Raw Youth were there, I was getting down arguably for their kickoff, because obviously I knew Scott and Quinn, so I was watching, and Jordan Manning had actually tipped us off. He said, mate, just watch Quinn. And you just went from strength, you jumped a couple of levels in the first half of the year, almost to the point where you bypassed the 23s a little bit and went straight into that. I know it was the Australia Cup, the pre-season. Ross Aloisi pulled you in, didn't he?
Yeah.
You almost bypassed the 23s, got in and got your chance and did really, really well. Were you at the game?
At the
The first one, yeah.
No, we didn't go. We didn't go to any. I think it was they rung us up and they just said they needed all his info.
Yeah.
So we had to provide everything, and then because he was so young, we had to give permission as a parent, and they're like, we got to look after him. So I think they had to make sure they had someone there to watch.
Yeah, someone has to chaperone.
Chaperone.
Someone gets
and then we had to sign it.
Someone gets put down as your chaperone.
And no, so we didn't go down. So it's down in Newcastle. And again, we looked at the squad and I'm thinking, he's fifth, he's not. But then when it went to extra time, they got that extra sub.
Yeah.
And I'm like sitting in the house and I was thinking, the boys, it's pre-season, someone's going to get injured or not be fit enough. And then they brought him on, and then again, a little bit of luck going into extra time, and then they had a man sent off. So it was just like a perfect thing, because they were going to drop deeper.
Yeah.
So then I thought, this is great. And Ross took him on, and again, a good thing for him to be involved in, because it was a high. Like his first game wasn't a low.
Yeah.
So it was a positive. And then, but the boys have been great with him too.
Yeah.
So again, good group of boys that's looked after him.
I remember watching it, and you came on, you did really, really well. It's like, how good's this? 15-year-old?
Yeah.
Was that the record? Youngest?
Yeah,
player for
that's the record, isn't it?
Yeah.
Have you got the record for?
You're asking about an email that had to come through.
Yeah.
You know that it was a record.
Have you got the record for scoring as well?
Yeah, I got that as
He's
well.
got all the records, hasn't he?
But even, I remember TC actually messaged me, I think after his contract as well. And Tommy's like, I'm so proud, of Quinny and everything like that. And I remember you rung me a couple of times when I, at Power for those games. You're like, you up here? And I was like, nah, I'm not. And you're like, I'm here to watch Quinny. And I think one was a midweek game and you were just there to watch. Your first team weren't even playing. But you said, I'm just going to go and watch the boys, and you rung. And so, again, good people looking after him and supporting him as well. So he's been lucky he's had that.
He's come a long way from Soccer Joes,
Yeah,
mate. Aeroplane stops.
Ambition-wise, obviously, to play the highest level you possibly can. but I suppose this year it's to establish yourself as one of the better players in that 23s, get more first team action, and then kick on from there.
Yeah, obviously, it's a really big goal for me to keep on playing with the A-League team and push through into the squad. And then obviously, if I do well there, I would like to go overseas and challenge myself over there.
Yeah.
And obviously, a massive goal for me would be to play for the national team. I think that's a huge thing that every kid wants to do. So, yeah, those are probably the 3 things that I'm like pushing for, and like that's a massive goal. Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, keep your feet in the ground, keep working hard. You've got a chance. We'll finish off this last 15 minutes a bit more lighthearted. Not that this has been a serious conversation, by the way. Scotty, I've asked you through the day, so you've had time to prepare, so you're not getting flung under the bus here. But best team 11 that you've coached. Are you going to go 4-3-3 or 4-4-2 here?
I don't know. I was thinking about it today. Actually, I was down at Manly Boathouse. Down on the water there, just
writing it out.
There was no milkshakes. That was gutted. But I was having to think about it today. Like, there's like I've actually had been lucky to coach some good players, but at the end of their career, as well. So it's like, do you fit them in?
It's your team, mate.
Had, and then
stop justifying the people you're leaving out.
I don't know.
It's a tough one, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's tough for you to get asked this question.
Like, I don't know. I'll maybe even go like a back 3.
Yeah. Well, who's your keeper?
So you got Reesby, you got Mario.
Yeah.
The big man over here. But I think Reesby, that when we first signed him, he was so fit too. So I'd probably say he was in there. But I'd probably go with a back 3.
Yep.
We had Gaffa.
Yeah.
Greg Hensley.
Yeah.
And then Uru.
Yeah.
So like good back 3. And then a midfield 4, I'd probably have to go flat.
Yeah.
Shea Hughes.
Yes.
Johnny McCain.
Yeah.
Graham Fife. And then probably have to flick in Burnsy. Danny, he didn't have a great year when he came to us at Rochdale, but again, he did so well, and then a 3 up front, you got Lewis Cameron.
Yeah.
Like that year we won the league.
He was brilliant, wasn't he?
He was a standout. He was like the best. I thought he was the best player in the state by a mile, like that. We beat Strikers in that Australia Cup day, and he just ripped them apart, and they won the NPL and we won the BPL, but he was the best player on the field, so I'd probably put him in there. I'd have to put Shawnee Furigal in there.
To start the press.
He just worked so hard, like everything for us, and just a great guy. And then I'd have to put Hurlin in there.
Yeah, left
so I'd
wing.
probably put him as a left wing and give him a bit of a free role.
Yeah.
But not a bad team.
That's a decent team.
Decent team.
Yeah. Plenty of goals in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, plenty of goals in that.
Slow midfield. Slow midfield.
Quinn, so obviously you've grown up watching all these players play. Who are the players, if there's 2 or 3 that really stood out when you were watching, going like their quality?
Yeah, I'd have to say Lewis Cameron as well, and Seji, playing with MTC, they were unbelievable. So yeah, that were the 2 for me, that stood out for me the most. And yeah, I just love watching them play every time I went to Underwood Park. It was so good, and yeah, they had a bit of flair to their game, so that's what I like.
You'd started slow that year, and then you went on I'm not saying like the first 7-8 games, but the first 3 or 4, then you went on a bit of a run, and didn't you go like 16-17 unbeaten or something?
Yeah,
it was ridiculous.
Our keeper got injured at the start, and then we got the young boy in, Jimmy, and he was like 17.
Yeah,
I actually remember we were playing Lions, and Rooney was coaching Lions, and he was just like he was like crowd the keeper, and like from corners, I was just putting everything on top of him. And to be fair, like I think we beat them that year away, and then drew with them at home. But yeah, we just went on a massive run, and that was it. And we just had that belief. And I think the big turning point was I brought in a couple of players. Sam Fellows came in, and not the most elegant player, but just gave you everything.
Yeah.
And Cato was massive for us that year, and Lewis, like I said, he was just sort of untouchable. And then I brought Jason Tobin in, and he had a really good season for us as well. So yeah, and then we just went along the way. Uru was immense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Stenner had a great year. Like,
were you allowed 3 visas at
it was
that point?
unlimited.
Unlimited, because you
I
had the 3.
5.
Yeah.
Well, there was 3 that stood out though.
Yeah.
Uru, Seji, and
Louis.
Louis.
Yeah.
But then like we had the boy from America, Eric.
Yeah.
He was really quick in the midfield. Ryan Fakney was really good for us in the midfield that year as well. And they were players that just, whenever they played, like whether they started or came on, they just did a good job. But like I said, Stenner that year was unbelievable. I think he came with a bit of a point to prove, maybe.
Yeah, I think
after
so
leaving
too.
East as well.
I think when you got guys like Stenner and Uru in your team, obviously Cato, and then you throw in the little bit of flair, like you just know there's those guys just roll their sleeves up and they're easy players to follow, like and drive the standard. So
I think we had you guys beat us in the semi, like smacked us
5-0 or 5-1.
Yeah, something like that. It was unbelievable.
We beat you
In
about
the cup.
4 weeks before.
Something like, was it?
We beat you about 4 weeks before in the league at our place, and I think there was maybe, as I said, 4 games to go. We might have been 5 points behind you. We were on a run ourselves.
Yeah.
It was when we got to the 32, the Australian Cup, and we had to beat you at AJ Kelly, and we did. We were 1-0 up, and we scored 2 late.
Oh, I remember
And if you
that.
remember,
Briggsy.
This gets brought up quite often.
Yeah.
Every time we play you, Wooly remembers it, so Wooly always brings it up. As we've gone, I think 3-0, it was like 1-0, it was tight, you had a few chances.
Yeah.
Then we've gone 2-3 within like 86, 88 minutes. And Briggsy had been taken off at this point, and he sat on the bench. And the benches are close enough where you can kind of say something on purpose so someone can hear. And Briggsy's kind of like, probably trying to play like the mind games has gone there. It's like, just watch these crumble now, boys, like that. And he's heard him. He's just trying to went, Briggsy like that. And Briggsy's come in the change room and he's went, what about Scott MacNicol?
I remember Felper was trying to say, calm down. And I was telling Briggsy, I was saying, you wouldn't have got a game when I was here, mate. And then I was like,
proper bit.
But he was some player as well.
Briggsy was
a
brilliant.
great player to come out.
But yeah, I think I spoke to you a week later. There was maybe 2 games to go, and I think you had gone out for a team meal or something. And all the lads, you said, like the lads are like, they're talking about this, or there was a game, one of the other, and they were checking the scores, and you just went, just relax, like just take care of business, you're fine. Because we thought we're going to win our games here, they're going to drop points, but you didn't.
Well, I think we beat Mitchelton, and Leo had a good team.
It
They
was.
came 4th, and we beat them at home 2 or 3-0. And then about 5 minutes ago of the game, we were up, and Leo actually came down, and he like gave me a hug and just said, "Enjoy it, like well done, you've been the best." And then we played just in the Canali Cup final. Yeah. And he's beat us 2-1.
At your place.
Right at the end, he scored
Andre
in the 90th
Bernardo won
minute or something to beat us. And then we had just in the semi-final the next week, and I had this thing where I was like trying to beat Jose Mourinho, remember?
3 up.
And then for a
3 up for corner.
they were really good
First
at corners. So like they get a corner in the first minute. So I go to the boys on Thursday night, right, we're practicing our shape, and I'm like, right, I think we went 4 up front to leave the space.
Yeah.
And they scored straight away 1-0.
You know what happened?
And then the next corner, the boys go, what do we do? I go, everyone go back.
Because you just left them all up, and it was literally the first minute.
Yeah.
And Philpers went, Benny, 3 or 4 of them are staying up. What do we do? Like that. And all our players are gone because we obviously worked on it. And I went, mate, we're just going to have to leave them.
Yeah.
Because Richie was about to swing it in, and Cunha scored, didn't he?
Back post.
And I just looked down the line, I just saw him go.
And then the boys next one, they're like, what do you reckon? I'm like, back, boys. And then just pumped us 5-0.
Yeah.
And we were like real that we just got through, as you said, the season was massive for us. But then we took Lions to the next game, the preliminary final, and I think they only beat us 2-1.
Yeah.
We took them the whole way, and then, we didn't have enough left in the tank, and you guys deserved it. You were, as you said, you 2 teams finished the league the
We'd
strongest.
finished strong. The last 10 weeks, I think we'd finished strong.
We were sort of just hanging on.
You deserve to win the league, though. Good side. Toughest local coaches to go up against? Because there's been a few since you've been coaching.
Yeah, and even since I've come back, like when I come back in last year, like, there's a lot of good coaches now that's out there, and I think they're putting a lot more into it.
Do you notice a difference?
Yeah,
there's a lot more. Yeah,
and the players want more now, which is great. So you've got to do more. But like, I still love playing Rooney.
Yeah,
like, I still love it. Like, I'd wind him up on the sideline, and like, I loved it against him. But even like I said, against you guys, it was always a good battle. Like good friends off the field, but like I'm quite aggressive on it and on the sideline and everything. But like as soon as the game's over, I can change. But playing Philper and yourself was always tough, even when you're at Holland Park. But I think probably one thing that sticks into my memory, actually, now I bring up Holland Park, is we played you in, I think it was the last game of the season one year.
Oh.
And whoever won got in the
We needed a point.
semi-finals. Yeah.
Was that
we were
your
fourth.
place? You were brilliant
We were
that day.
fourth. And, but you gave me, our goalkeeper got injured.
Yeah, he did.
And we got permission, and you actually gave me a contact for John Ball. Was
Yeah,
it?
Johnny
John
Ball. Yeah.
To play against them. And I'm thinking, like, who else would do that? You know? And I remember you saying,
Well, you also thinking, is he setting me up?
Just going from the pub.
but he had a great game, and he beat us 2-1.
Our keeper 1-0. Marek
Was
scored.
it 1-0?
And
Yeah.
our keeper got man of the match, Kazi.
Yeah, we played
Kazi,
brilliant.
he was
that day,
brilliant
yeah.
that day. Should have won.
Yeah, but you guys beat us and used
Yeah,
the
it's not good.
semi-finals. But again, you had Dan and
That was a good Sammy Roll, that was a good side.
Yeah.
Yeah, good side that. Favourite grounds in Queensland to play at? Quinn?
Oh, I'd have to say Suncorp number
Yeah.
one.
Calm down.
No, but Lions is always.
What happened to being humble?
Lions and Rochelle would have to be the other two.
Yeah.
There's so much space in the field. I love it there. So it's good.
Yeah. Rochdale's brilliant now that it's had the makeover.
Yeah.
Yeah, really good. What about yourself?
I like Power.
Yeah.
Rochdale and Power for me.
They're both good match day experiences. Like, no disrespect to Lions, I think the facility at Lions is we were there 2-3 weeks ago. My God, the pitch. That is as good as anything you've ever seen. You play any competition anywhere in the world on that pitch. But I always just get the feeling when you go to Lions, not everyone's there for the football.
Nah.
You know, people are up there in the restaurant, they're eating, they're not even watching the game.
Yeah.
Whereas when you go to Rochdale or you go to Power, or you go to City or you go to Olympic, everyone's there to watch a game of football. It feels like a football club, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, that's fair.
Well, for the most important question of the night, top 3 on a night out.
We'll not ask you this one.
Well, we might. Ask us off air.
Favourite babysitter on the floor.
Yeah, okay.
3 is in people you know, or 3 is in anyone?
No, 3 is in lads.
3 ex-teammates.
Yeah.
Oof.
Who would you be?
Top 3.
Who would you be stood around a table with a few blue wickets and Smirnoff ices with?
I'd have to say, well, obviously the boys, they're great on a night out, but they're also quite quiet. We need to be home by 12.
They're all out the country for this night.
Yeah, okay. Ali Graham.
Yeah.
He was...
What a good player, by the way.
He was unbelievable. On a night out, he was brilliant. Can't go past the one and only Michael Baird. Who else? Geordie Loudon was very good on a night out as well.
He was a good
the
player,
Scottish
yeah.
boys.
3 good players there, by the way.
He was good
Jeez,
on
your
a
team
night
was stacked
out.
at Power as well.
Yeah, I know. Breezy.
Breezy.
Yeah,
He's moving
some
back.
player. Is he?
Yeah.
To you
To
guys
Power.
again?
No.
No.
Yeah.
There we go.
All right.
Contract's getting there.
We'll chat after this.
Yeah.
And Quinn, top 3 babysitters? Obviously not Mooney.
No, he doesn't. He only got that one gig, and then that was him binned again.
Yeah. Well, look, thoroughly enjoyed that. Been a good chat. As we said before, stick in, feet on the ground, keep working hard. And obviously at Rochdale, good luck. There's a bit of a challenge this year, but hopefully it can turn around and everyone will be happy.
Long way to go in the season. Long way to go.
Yeah.
A few other teams have dropped points, but no, thanks for having us.
No, it's been
it was
good.
I didn't know what to expect. It was fun. It was,
Yeah.
It was good.
We nearly got some Smirnoff ice in for you, but
Nah, not on a weeknight.
Not licensed.
Not on a
We're
weeknight.
but no, enjoyable. Like, subscribe, do what you got to do, and we'll be back in a couple of weeks with another video episode. Thank you.